All right, testing. All right, we look like we're good to go. Tried out some new settings today, everybody. So we'll see how they go. We'll see how they go. Yeah, so I'm trying to get a little bit more creative with OBS because I've got a better idea. I want to make this more like a slideshow. But we'll see how we do. We'll see how we do. We got some photos already saved up from r/Tinder, so it'll be very interesting. I have things pre-selected. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're 3 minutes ahead of schedule. I know, that's crazy. Yeah, we'll see how we do. And I don't know the length or anything, but, try to 45 minutes, maybe an hour. We'll try to aim for about that. Hopefully everything sounds okay. I'm going to play some audio from the computer. We'll test it up, see how we sound. I can hear myself. That sounds great. Okay. Yeah, so I got a couple updates before we kind of get into things. But like I said, we'll be testing some things today. So bear with me if things don't look perfect right away, okay? I didn't realize how bright it looked in here. It looks actually abnormally bright. I might try to configure the the brightness maybe. I feel like it's like way too bright. Try that. Yeah, so we got a couple updates I'll talk about. Just nothing too exciting, but a couple things about the channel that we'll talk about. And then I've got a slideshow of about 13 images that I want to talk about. So they're just basically screenshots from Tinder posts, Hinge, Bumble, and just kind of, laying the land, man, laying the land. Hopefully everybody's been doing well. I will treat this kind of just as like a YouTube video as well. So if you're watching from YouTube after the fact, rather than the stream, I appreciate that as well. Always appreciate the viewership and the comments and all that fun stuff. One of the streams, actually, it's kind of wild. It almost has like 1,000 views like after the fact, which is like kind of wild for me. Like they normally don't get anywhere. They don't get received as crazy like that. So yeah, like I said, we'll get into it here in just a second. Next video is probably going to be another movie review, or I might do an online dating one, actually. I have one about Tinder that we need to talk about, something very fascinating in Tinder, and we'll talk about that today, but I'm going to make its own video. So something very fascinating I found in Tinder was released a few months ago. I didn't know about it because I am not a Tinder user, but we will absolutely be looking into it. We will be dipping our feet into that a little bit today. And like I said, we're going to be reacting to just some posts. They're not really any in particular order, but I did kind of scour the top, like just what was newest, and went down. And again, we're just going to overall thoughts to the posts. So bear with me here for a second while we set up the image slideshow here. So I think, yeah, look how organized I am. You can tell. I got the mic still going, so that's the most important part. All right, we'll kill that for a second. So problem I have here is like, see the webcam here? I have to kill the webcam to go to the image slideshow, which is like this, where I put the background on, like the pictures to the side. I have to kill the webcam. It won't work because it looks like it's taking it from two locations. So right now you guys obviously can't see me, but you can hear me. So I am turning the webcam on and it just won't do anything. However, if I go back here, I deactivate the webcam. So hear me out. Go back to image slideshow and turn the webcam back to the Logitech webcam I have. It will actually work. Wow. I'm just setting it up now. It is showing it. So it's kind of cumbersome. I don't know why it does that. It's woof. Look at that. Yeah, no, it clearly won't. It won't use it. Like, it won't use it in two places, if you know what I mean. So if I do one scene in the other spot and a scene here, it won't work. So give me 1 second. We're just going to set this to default here, which is going to put the brightness back up, I think. Yeah, well, we're good with that. I want it to be a little brighter anyway. So we're actually going to, look at this. Look at the background, the Nick Daniels. I took that photo like eons ago. Here we go. I don't know. This is just an idea I have. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a go. So I kind of want to... I just wanted this preemptively set up. This is a big problem. I wanted this preemptively set up, but I'm learning, okay? I heard Canva's a good way to do this too. Like, you can do like almost like a PowerPoint presentation that way. And I think it's better if I'm just showing you guys posts online where I could just put the screen cap up and do it that way. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. We'll take a look at some photos. This is the first one I want to talk about. So I'll expand this one here so you guys can see it. So this is I'm going to make its own video on this, okay? Yeah, we're going to make a video on this on itself, but I want to talk about this first and talk about my thoughts on it on stream. So again, its own video's coming. So if you don't know what you're looking at, this is a Tinder post from r/Tinder, where I get a lot of my content actually. And yeah, you could pretty self-explanatory, but we'll break it down. So Tinder has a limit on likes. No, every dating app does, right? Pretty, but basically, except I think like Facebook dating. So it's a way that they monetize their platform. If you're not aware, because you could go through 25 likes on Bumble, which I actually think is pretty close to the number that you get. You don't get a lot, and then you are limited, and it is a way to entice you to pay for it, right? Because now, like that you got that you didn't match with yet could still be there. It could be the next person in the line, right? So it entices you to pay. Now, so that's just the premise, right? And keep that going, keep that in mind going forward. So, what they're doing is they're advertising now, and this has been happening for a few months. They've been advertising a way that you will now be prompted to watch advertisements to increase the amount of likes you get, only by like 5, by the way. And I don't know if this stacks. So what I mean by that is, can I do the 5 likes with an advertisement, and can I do it a second time and do it again, right? And get 10, right? But 2 ads. I don't know if you can do that, but I do know that you can do this. And this is an option that's available. So I think it really shows like how bad online dating sites are doing. I've said this for quite a while, and I truthfully mean it. I think a lot of the sites are doing really, really bad because a lot of people are just getting fed up. This has been a thing going on for years. When I did speed dating like 3 years ago, that was a conversation about how everyone was fed up with online dating and they weren't using it anymore. And people were talking about it like it was a thing of the past, right? Like they were like, oh yeah, man, I'm just going to date in person now. And that's why people did speed dating, because it made sense, right? They were like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. So I think it's interesting when you see a post like this that's coming out where people are talking about it, and it's like, it's an option. It's sure. But it doesn't, it just shows to me that they're bleeding money. I don't have it on here. I didn't take a screenshot, but in the video, I also talked about Bumble, and I mentioned that Bumble has made it that men can message first now to women. That's been a while. That's old news, but it just shows that they knew that their methods weren't working. They were like, all right, well, what we're trying to do is not working, right? Women are not messaging first. Not always, anyway. Like, sometimes they are. But I think a lot of the women were just not happy doing it. And then less people are using it because of that fact, right? That they're like, well, I'm getting matches, but they just never message me, and I can't chat them up, right? And that's a big problem, right? That is a big problem. So, yeah, that being said, that's interesting. I think it's a really interesting post. And I think it's a really interesting method that they're doing, because obviously this isn't a good thing. I think it's good that it's free, but just forcing advertisements down someone's throat to for things that should be free, I think is kind of ridiculous. But again, I'd rather do this and pay, X amount of subscription for something that, we're barely going to use, right? So anyway, like I said, we have a slideshow here. This was just the first thing I wanted to talk about. We have a slideshow. I haven't done this before with the slideshow, but I want to see how it comes up. So we're just going to take it one picture at a time. I've got about 13 of them available, and we're just going to go one at a time. A few of them are chained together, so it's a conversation of like 2 to 3 pages. We'll go through them all, and we'll see how we're at. We got Peter commenting, online dating is archaic and impossible and costly. It was so much better when it wasn't based on swipes and you could pull up a page and search results and choose who to message. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, Peter, and I appreciate the comment. So that kind of reminds me of like Plenty of Fish back in the day. I say this all the time. I used Plenty of Fish back in the day. It's funny to say back in the day, but it is true. Like 10 years ago, I was using it. Over 10 years ago. And you would just pull up a page and it would be like 100 profiles, right? And you could just message any of them, right? Like you would see when they're last online. Think about this, right? Think about this. This is a wild example. So everything I'm about to say is now a paid feature. You could search for when someone was recently online, right? You could message them for free, just no matching, no nothing. You could just look at a profile, send them a message. There you go. You could include pictures if you wanted to. Now, I understand that probably should have been limited because it's a lot of inappropriate pictures going around, but if you're going to send a picture, you could send a selfie of yourself or whatever, right? You could send something, and yeah, those are gone. Those days are gone. They're deleted. Even OkCupid, right, which was well known for its privacy, right? You would make a username and you would sign up as a free account, and you could message somebody. Whisper, right, another one, not really a dating site with Whisper, but still, like, you had that. Nobody really knew who you were, right? And now it's like, well, you gotta put a first name, you gotta put a last name. Like even on Facebook, I have a spoof account. It's a fake name. It's no picture. It's nothing. I just use it for Marketplace. That's it. I have no other reason to have a Facebook account. I would delete it. I would delete it today. if I didn't want to use Marketplace. Good comment though. I appreciate that. That's a good thought provoking point. That a lot of the things we are using in online dating now were completely free, like 8 years ago, right? Which is a big shame too. But they know they're going to make their money. Okay, here we go. I just thought this was funny. This isn't one to really talk about, but I'll talk about it here. Sorry, I'm getting used to this OBS slideshow thing, so bear with me here. We're going to have some growing pains. So this is just a profile that was just up on Tinder that I wanted to quickly talk about. This is not really that important. It's a very quick point. But I noticed this a lot for some reason, and it's these like negative posts. You know, Buddy's response, I think it was a guy that responded to it. It's a perfectly fine response, but the point is that the prompt. So if you don't know what this is, it's not the bio, it's a prompt, right? You know, an example is like, on a Sunday you can find me doing X, and you just fill in X, right? So this one, obviously, as you can see, it says, I bet you can't, and then it says, impress me, is what the person wrote. And I don't understand why anyone ever writes these profiles, makes these prompts, anything like that at all. I don't understand why someone would do it. It is beyond me. Like, the 200 IQ kind of thing, right? Like, I can't fathom it. I don't understand why someone would ever do this. And kind of really, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, there's nothing inherently about this that's necessarily bad, but it just doesn't make me enticed to message you at all. When I see these in profiles, I'll just be straight up about this. It just turns me off. You know, you have to make me do X, right? You have to be funny. You have to love dogs. You have to impress me, right? The best way to ask me out is by doing it. Just ask me out already. Stuff like that, I'm good. If there's like some kind of requirement, right? I'm out, right? Now, a reasonable requirement, right? Sure. But this just seems like a standoffish profile that someone just... And I mean, I'm purely judging off no photos. I am judging off a prompt. It just doesn't look like someone who wants to engage in a conversation. It looks like someone who wants to engage and not be happy in that engagement. You know what I mean? And have a conversation. I don't know. It's just like, also when you match people and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, you're ugly, I'm not interested. It's like, well, why did you match me? Right? Why did you waste the time to do so? We'll never know. That was a quick one. Let's get into the meat and gravy. I need to set up shortcuts, obviously. Hotkeys. All right, we'll enlarge this puppy. So this is a two-parter. I clearly don't have this set up correctly because the picture is not there. There's a profile. Hold on. Look at all these. Look at them all. There's a profile, and I'm looking for it. I got a lot of conversations, okay? Oh, okay. Well, this is really out of order. Wow. Okay, my apologies, guys. We're growing pains, okay? So this is the photo I was just showing a second ago. This is the person's profile. It goes, hey, I'm blank, and I'm a proud animal lover. I thought they had a dog, too. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I have it too big. There you go. I don't want to make it too small so you can't actually read this. But yeah, it goes, hey, I'm blank, and I'm a proud dog owner. Are you an animal lover, too? So it's like, that was the person's profile. Yeah, okay, they were just slightly out of order. That's not too bad. I've tried to number them like 1 to 13, and I thought that would do the trick. Maybe it won't. Yeah, we're going to have to do a lot of resizing this stream, so I apologize in advance. Anyway, that being said, let's take a look. So, yeah, so this is the conversation. So, I'll let you guys read that there, but I'll read it out, obviously. I'm not an animal. I'm just putting it up on my extra monitor, so I actually have it. Oh, maybe I did rename it wrong. Yeah, I think I did order it wrong. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Just 1 second here, guys. But yeah, anyway, Buddy says, yeah, like, you can see it here. So he goes, yeah, I love your eyes, man. They're generally so gorgeous. Thank you is the response. I don't really think that, like, that's necessarily the best opener, but it is a compliment, and it's not a bad way to open. However, the response just doesn't really leave anything, you know, for me. Like, I probably wouldn't bother continuing much with this conversation. And she goes, of course, what kind of dog do you have? She goes, I don't have a dog. And Buddy goes, oh, why does your bio say you're a proud dog owner? And I'm pretty sure he got blocked right after this. I don't know why you would. I honestly am like very perplexed by this conversation. I don't really understand why you would even write in the fact that you are a dog owner and you don't have a dog. That doesn't really make any sense to me. The only like possible world that I could build was like maybe you had a dog pass away. And I feel like I'm really reaching for that. I don't really understand. It's a real quick one, but it's like I just it seems like such an odd thing to talk about in a profile. Like, why write it? Right? Like there seems to be no value to a profile to lie. There was a post, I didn't save it, but there was a post today that I'll briefly mention where someone they came off a bit strong. But they were concerned about a social media presence because they were concerned about getting catfished. And like everybody in the comments was like chewing the guy out, right? Like for asking such a thing, which is true. I don't think you really should ask for that. But I think a better way to word that would have been like asking for a video call, you know, or something like that, like FaceTime me, right? Just to be, I want to see who you are, right? I want to get an idea who you are. And that's a really valid point because I've done the phone call before a date where I'll talk to a woman like the day before, you know, and then maybe she's put on some weight or she looks drastically different, right? Like her appearance is really different, you know, and it can lead to not a good time. You're like, well, I you know, I feel a little, you know, I'm a little misled, right? I straight up saw someone come over for a date. She didn't even look like the same person. And not even necessarily like bigger or smaller or anything like weight size. It was just like genuinely I looked at her. I was like, that doesn't look to be the person. And she was like, how's it going? I was like, okay, I guess. Ooh, I'm gonna shrink that a little bit. A little bit. Trying to see how we're doing here. What I could do is, I guess I could just pull this over. There we go. I have the letter in between now. I mean, that's kind of heinous, but you can see we're going to be fixing this on the fly. There we go. Look at that. Mint. Okay, so I think I'll scroll this up in a second. Yeah, we'll scroll this up in a second. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. So, hey, I'm going to be totally transparent. If you text me a plan like you said we would do something on Saturday. Right now, I'm sorry, but I'm no longer interested. These days, I found the amount of effort someone puts into the first date is pretty telling for the rest of the relationship and how it goes. I'm sure you're very nice, but I think we maneuver in different ways. Maybe take this as advice moving forward. Wishing you the best out there. So the bottom is slightly cut off. There you go. Okay. So a little context here. So this was a person who hadn't talked they tried to schedule a date, didn't work out for their schedules, and he was kind of like, okay, like next week we'll talk. And they did talk, and there was a 2-day silence, I believe, and then he had tried to schedule something. He asked her, are you free on Saturday? I had read this post, so I know the context. It was very important. A lot of people were asking for context. And this is the response that he had got. So 2 days of silence, and then he went, hey, are you free on Saturday? Right? So like sometime in the week, right? He had said that. So I'll be honest, like, this isn't a bad response at all. I think this is a really, really good, mature response. I'm a firm believer of that. I think there's nothing wrong with this reply. If I had been talking to a lady, you know, in I don't know, miracle that she had planned the date, right? That never happens, but like just say it did for the sake of argument. And this same situation happened where I hadn't heard from her for 2 full days, like no response. And then she was just like, what are you doing Saturday? I'd be like, I already made plans, right? Like I would not wait around, right? I actually was really funny interaction. This is kind of not really related, but almost in a way. I had an interaction yesterday that actually really annoyed me. So I was trying to use sell something online, and just on one of the platforms like Kijiji or whatever. And I was to meet a gentleman, and they didn't schedule a time. Right? I was just like, I should be free after 4, and it was like 7 o'clock, and they were like, hey, I'm gonna be there in 10 minutes. And like no notification other than that, 10 minutes. And I was like, well, I'm heading out in 10 minutes. Like, I already made plans. I didn't hear from you, right? Like, I'm going to do something. You know, and I actually went out and watched a movie last night. It was a really good time. It was that new Jason Statham one, Solo Movie Adventure. Very, very good. But that being said, you got to schedule a time. If you don't hear from somebody, it's not a far stretch to go make plans. I didn't hear from Buddy. It was 8 in the morning until 7. So I was like, all right, right? Like, as far as I know, I'm not hearing from you, right? I need to hear from you. Right? If I'm going to buy something, I bought that camera lens I put in my videos sometimes, the big one. I went to buy that. I messaged Buddy. I was like, hey, like, does this address, like, is this where you're at? He's like, yep. Like, or like, what's the address? Here it is. Would this time work for you? Perfect. Okay. And this price works? Great. Thanks. And I went over, and that was the time we did, right? You schedule a time, right? No different than a date, man. You got to schedule it. You got to put something in writing. And if you're not going to talk to someone for like 2 days, like even a, hey, how's it going? How's your day going? What's up? Right? Lovely day out there today. You know, what are you doing that's exciting? Stuff like that. Just small talk, right? They're going to move on. 100%. It's common sense. All right, here we go. Let's go next in the queue. So this is a really, really weird conversation that I want to dissect. If you guys need the screenshots to be bigger, let me know. But I think they should be okay. I'm gonna keep expanding them a little bit, and then I'll just scroll down as we need to. I think that this will probably work the best for the stream. So this is a really odd exchange, and I wanted to talk about it because I don't really know. I didn't really know what to say when I read it. So let's just get into it. So yeah, so this is if you know Bumble anyway, the orange or the yellow. I'd say more orange. That's the guy messaging back to the woman. So the woman has sent the first message as per Bumble. Not anymore, though. It's changed. Not every time, but most times. She goes, hey, how are you? He goes, hey, pretty lady, pretty good yourself. Now, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm all for, like, openers that are kind of cheesy, and I don't even know what I would say. Like, you could call her cute. I don't know, right? I'm just using an example. But I don't really like cheesy openers like that are like, hey, pretty lady. That's just really strange to me. And we'll get in. You're probably reading ahead of me, but we'll get into it. And there is a second part of this conversation. And I think it's just like, it was just a bad way to open. I really think that. I think it was a bad way to open. Like, you could be like, hey, how's it going? By the way, I just wanted to say, like, hey, I think, like, I don't know. I love your hair. It's really nice. Like something like that is fine because it's just it doesn't come off as strong or as weird, right? I don't think it comes off maybe strong, but it comes off weird. It comes off weird. It's a weird response. Anyway, she goes, "Yeah, that's good. I'm doing well. Just about to get ready for bed." So again, perfectly normal up to thus far. Maybe sans the pretty lady part. Well, I hope you have sweet dreams, ... Though I wouldn't mind being the reason you're up just a little longer. So, yeah, this part's like, the first one's like a little odd. You're like, all right, like, I'll let it slide. The second part is like, it's two messages in, right? So when someone's like, hey, like, getting ready to sleep, it's like, you know, haha, here you have a great sleep. Maybe talk to you tomorrow. That's perfectly fine, right? And just end the conversation for the day, right? But I've said this when like I'm into a woman and we've like maybe gone on a date, right? Like now that makes sense, right? Now I could say that line and I would not be perceived as odd. Just saying that. What's Peter's writing to us here? Let's see what you're saying, Peter. I have one currently in limbo where the girl actually refused to talk about anything unless it was plans for a date. I kept putting it off because I'm so busy at work. She's still on there on Tinder though. It's funny as I gotta say, I kind of don't mind that per se. I've done that before myself, and I've had women do that, and I'm kind of okay with it. I'm on the fence. I can understand where someone would think that's really standoffish and like really rude. Maybe not rude, but like something like that, right? I can totally get that where someone would be like off put by someone saying, "Hey, by the way, I don't really want to have a conversation. If we want to talk about a date, then let's do that." Because I've gone on dates with women and we've done a lot of talking beforehand, and then we didn't have anything at all to talk about on the date. We'd go on the date, we'd be sitting there, we'd just like, all right, like I basically know everything about her, right? So sometimes I do prefer it. Like, let's just kind of line up a date and we'll take it from there, right? We'll take it from there and we'll do it. We'll do it live. Just one sec. I'm just checking something. But yeah, I think I have two mics popping up. Hopefully that's not been a problem. Sometimes I do prefer it. Like, let's just kind of line up. Yeah, okay. I didn't notice that. I have two mics coming up, so bear with me, guys, for 1 second. I have my Yeti on, and I also think I have the webcam mic on. I hear a slight. Oh, I have two Yetis on. I hear a slight echo. That should fix that issue there. All right, testing. Yeah, okay. I didn't notice that. I have two mics coming up, so bear with me, guys, for 1 second. I have my Yeti on, and I also think I have the webcam mic on. I hear a slight. Oh, I have two Yetis on. I hear a slight echo. Okay, I think we're good to go. That should fix that issue there. Yeah, okay. I sorry guys, I had to test that out. We're all good now. I put two audio inputs in, and they were both the Yeti, so I could just hear them at the same time. It didn't sound bad, but you could tell there was a second audio source coming in, so that should fix that now. Anyway, like I was saying though, we'll read in. So she goes, "Why are you talking to me like that?" And he goes, "Talking to you like what?" So yeah. So she's kind of gone in. I wouldn't call this at all, by the way, a confrontation. I know people will call this a confrontation. I don't believe it is, but it's a conversation. She's addressing the elephant in the room immediately, and I think that's a great way to do it. I will say though, however, I think this match has expired. There's no way you move past it. I think she's already lost interest because like this has turned her off. It would me. If it was a woman to me, I would be turned off by this personally. I would be like, all right, that's a bit much. It's quite intense for a woman that has never met you, especially your second message in. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I was at. So the first message is on its own is like, all right, it's a little interesting. And then the second message kind of was like, well, okay, I don't really know you. That's a little strong. Again, if you've met someone, that's a whole different ball game, right? Where you could send a message to be like, "Hey, I hope you stay up a little later tonight." Because for me, right, like it's even a plot implied there could be something else there, and sure, there might not be, but that's what people are going to take away from it. I'm doing like the Trump, just that's the Trump. We can't talk about that today. So I think that's interesting. So the bottom of it, I'll just scroll it up real quick, and then we'll go on to page number 2. Dude, I gotta, I gotta figure this out. So it gives a little paragraph back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it goes, I respect how you feel and how you interpreted it, but I disagree that it was intense. You said you're going to bed. I said, sweet dreams, but I wouldn't mind if you wanted to stay up and talk to me. It's not really what was said. So going back up to the message, goes, well, I hope you have sweet dreams, though I wouldn't mind being the reason you're up a little longer. So I know that's what's implied. Um, yeah, I'll say that. I know that's what he's implying, but it's not clear. And the problem through text is it will be interpreted a completely different way by somebody, right? Regardless of how you expect it to be interpreted, like how you wrote it or like LOL can be interpreted in many ways. I know it means laugh out loud, but like you put on the end of a sentence that's like a serious sentence, people will be like you're joking, right? Or they'll be like it's an insult or something. So that's what I'm saying, right? She responds back, it's intense because of how you said it. It was intense because we've, and then we'll get into the second page here. Look at that. Look at that transition, dude. That was clean, dude. All right. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so it's quite intense for a woman that's never met you, especially your second message in. There's the exchange. So she says, it's intense because of how you said it. It was intense because we've literally never met before. It's intense because we know nothing about each other besides the little bit in our profiles. And it's also intense because you and I are not in a relationship. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with someone talking to me in that way when I've never even met them and barely talked. It's a lot to push on someone to talk like that. I'll scroll up. There we go. It's giving love bombing. Please get off here and seek therapy. I'm very creeped out. So I will say that I think her response was pretty just. You can't really go wrong with that. I think it was worded pretty well too. Like she really spells it out. It's like, this is why, right? I don't think you need to tell him to go get therapy. But you could just be like, hey, listen, like I'm just uncomfortable with it. Good luck to you, right? Maybe don't try that in the future. That like just some friendly advice. That's fine. But like go get therapy is a little bit strong where I don't think someone necessarily needs therapy for an opening on a dating app. They can open on a dating app and you don't have to like it, right? You don't have to like it. But I agree though, I wouldn't like it myself. I don't think it was the best opener. I think there's a lot of ways to open. It like, hey, how's your weekend going? That's a pretty safe opener to having a conversation, to opening a conversation. I'm just saying. So I think my order is all askew here. It is, yeah. Just 1 second here, guys. We're looking at all what we got for screenshots. All right, I got like 5 more, I think. All right, I got to go. Yeah, the order's all messed up here, okay? Bear with me here. I think I talked about this one, right? Just going through all my crap. Oh, no, we got 6. All right, here we go. I don't actually remember this one, so that's gold. Content, boys. Content. All right, here we go. All right, next one up on the list. Let's talk about this one. So, hey, Blank, given your dream job in your profile, it's almost famous. Is that one of your favorite movies? So, I think that's a pretty good opener, honestly. Actually, it is not. Lol, LOL, or lol, oh, do you dislike it? It's an okay movie. You're noticing a pattern, okay? What's one of the best movies? Full Metal Jacket, Clockwork Orange, The Shining. Okay. But he goes, all Kubrick, no Tarantino. Asking about the directors. She goes, I like a lot of movies. He goes, do you like conversation? She goes, sometimes. And he goes, well, if you think you like to try it, if you think you like it now, just wait until you try it. So this is one of the common things I'll see all the time that people will like complain about. And I mean, I totally get the complaint. There's nothing to work with. Don't engage. Don't bother with this. Don't chase it. Let it go. Right? Let it go. Just let it be free. Anytime, I'm going to tell you right now, anytime, ever, this happens to you, where like you're trying to have a conversation and they're giving you like 1-word responses, no questions back, like nothing, like multiple times, just stop responding, right? They're not interested. They don't care, right? And guys do this too. This isn't just a women thing. This is everybody, right? Don't bother. Don't waste your effort. Okay? If you're a woman messaging a guy and you're asking all the questions and they're just not giving anything back, don't ask a question on the next one, right? Where he's like everything he wrote was a question, right? He's trying to get to know the person. Stop writing. Don't write a question on the next one. Just go, oh, that's cool, right? And if they go like, yep, it's over, right? Because they're not interested, right? I actually had a girl message me. I did talk about this in a video, and she stopped talking to me because I wasn't asking her any questions. And I was like, I think we've messaged 3 times, right? Like, and I was giving pretty detailed responses, but it was like 3 responses, I think, is all I had. And I hadn't asked a question, I guess. So she was like, I'm not interested. I was like, all right, that's fair, right? Like, I can't get mad at that. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. Just an interesting exchange that I see all the time, but you don't highlight it. Here we go. We're going back to the Bumbles. Yeah, so you can see, where are we at here? So yeah, this is the opening move. If you don't know what that is, by the way, so the opening move, it's at the top of the screen here. You can see it like right here, right? There we go. Let's do that. So the opening move is the way that now men can message first on Bumble. Otherwise, you had to pay money. So I had to get their subscription model to be able to message first. So now I can. And I can do it by doing this, by doing their opening moves. So the opening moves is exactly what you think it is. It's just a prompt that I could just, they put like a line and then I could just comment to it. That's literally all it is. And it just lets me message them first. All right, so we'll read this one here. You are so fine. Buddy goes, why do you keep deleting your profile? The question. Refreshing it. I figure if we match 10 times, you'll finally message. No, sorry. I think this is I'm not sure who's who here. Like men, women. I have no idea on this one. She goes, Buddy goes, refreshing it. If the match expires, why all the scrutiny? If you're past the interrogation phase and want to actually meet in person. Wow. So that's how some people react to it, right? It's like literally like an interrogation. This is crazy. I think it's a guy messaging a woman. Like in the gray is a guy. I wouldn't say that's an interrogation phase, but that's where you like sort them out. You know, you get an idea if there's red flags. You get an idea if the person's like a fucking serial killer, right? And then you sort through them, right? You get an idea, and you just get a little bit of intel on them too, which I think helps big time. Right? You got to know the person you're talking to. If you don't know the person, well, you got to know something, right? You got to know something. So I think this one... Okay, this is a two-parter. This is a two-parter. All right, here we go. I was just curious for the reasoning behind it. That's all. I see a lot of profiles remake theirs like every other day. This is the same one. Never mind. This is the same one we just looked at. This one right here. I didn't realize it was a three-parter. It's a three-parter, not a two-parter. Anyway, from every other day. I assume the pool of people is the same no matter what, with the locals at least. Anyways, our dating intentions don't align. You're a handsome, established guy, so I'm sure you'll find your wife on here. Good luck out there. Right? That's a great response. Hold on, I gotta deal with this. I gotta deal with a mongoloid. I got nothing to say to that. I really have nothing to say to that. I have a lot of comments, but I don't want to say anything. Moving on. Let's just have fun. What's your deal? More than happy to keep it casual with you since you don't appreciate the value of dating me. In fact, I'd love to show you my dominance. Then calls her a little nugget. I don't know what that means, to be honest. Nick, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I started it. I was like, oh, play it safe. I'll grab you by the throat and lynch you. Yeah, I've never really been threatened to be lynched. That's a new one. But yeah, I would say just move on. Just unmatch these people. It's funny that the guy messaged, like, he deleted his account like 10 times, right? And if we go back, right? So you look at this one, it's like, I figured if we matched 10 times, you'll finally message. So what that meant was that she hadn't sent the first message all those times, and he just kept remaking the account and matching her every single time, and was like, eventually you're just going to send me the message. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. What do we got next here? Don't know what to say to this. So this is interesting. I want to read this through. Again, we don't know man or woman here. So this is a Bumble profile. Unless they say in the profile here. I don't think it says. Looking for a relationship that leads to marriage. No hookups / casual daters. Okay. Qualities that I find attractive. Dog friendly. Politically liberal / progressive. Highly educated. Professional. Professionally ambiguous. That's interesting. Good sense of humor, fit / healthy, good communicator, and not constantly on social media. I think when you put lists like this, I think this is a turnoff to a lot of people. At least myself. I really think these are really, really bad. I think for a couple of reasons, but I think you're putting out like a list of requirements to somebody that not everybody's going to meet all these requirements. Like what you're looking for is like the needle in the haystack, right? For someone to tick every single box that you have, right, that you're looking for. It's unrealistic, right? It's unfathomable that that's going to happen. And I don't understand how anybody in the world thinks this is like a realistic thing to do. It's like, Dartboard, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming into the stream, brother. Appreciate you coming in. But like I was saying, like it's not obtainable, right? It's not tangible. Like at best, right? Let's say I check like 3 of these. I don't know, good communicator, sense of humor, and I'm liberal. All right. Well, that's fantastic, right? But there's so many other things that I don't meet on this list, and I can guarantee you this guy's going to be like one of them. And you're like, oh, you didn't meet that? Well, good luck to you, right? Good luck to you. Which is what I find very, very bit of a struggle. I'm not going to lie. I find it a bit of a struggle. Like, just to keep a straight face. Anytime someone has, like I've said it before in one of the earlier posts, anytime someone has any kind of requirement on their profile whatsoever, I am immediately not into that person for just very obvious reasons, in my opinion. I'm just looking for something. 1 second here. I tried to save all these posts, but I don't think I've got everything. Well, anyway, we'll deal with that later. Hope you guys are enjoying the video, by the way. If you're watching on the fact, after the fact, or during the stream, appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Let's check it out here. What do we got? Okay, we got a little post. A little conversation. Okay, so we have a little conversation. So yeah, here we go. Message coming in. So from the top, Hoping it was me. You ready for the weekend X? I don't really get why you do that. I've seen that, like, people write like that. Like, they'll put, like, X after all their messages. I don't really get it, personally. I really don't. I don't understand it whatsoever. That's just me. Anyway, and puts the GIF. No, I'm working. Looks like a crying, kind of like a crying face, the old school, with the parentheses. How about you? Oh, that's not good. Just gaming with friends, XXX. I don't understand XXX. Jonathan Craig, welcome to the stream, brother. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm just gaming with friends. Oh, Jesus, I think the wrong pics showed up when I added you. Man, the gym is a great tool. I'd start going X. So this is one of the ones I mentioned earlier. I don't particularly understand why anybody at all matches anybody. If you're just going to be rude. If you're just going to be rude. Yeah, if you're just going to be rude, I don't really understand the point, right? It doesn't make any sense, right? Why match someone if you're just not going to bother, right? If you're not going to make the effort, right? You're not going to put in the little bit of effort. I don't get the point. The only reason I could think of is, like, maybe you want to get rid of the notification that you got to like, but that would be the best that I could come up with. 1 second here. I'm trying to get us a couple more photos in the live, guys. In the live. 2 caught my eye, and I'd like to talk about them. So for some reason, when I go to, like, save them from Reddit, it doesn't really, like, work super well. So I have to save them as a screenshot. Like, I've used, like, the snipping tool and save them. So bear with me. We will do that while we're live. I've got 2 here I want to talk about, though. I just read them, like, while I was doing this, and I was like, oh, those look interesting. I think they'll just work. It's like Fallout 4. Everything just works. So we're going to try to do that right now. Okay, hold on. Let's go through the slideshow here. I don't know if it updates in live time. I think it does. Because if it does, we're golden. Because I could just add stuff in live. Oh, maybe not. Okay, hold on. Hold on, folks. We're going to be good here. Can you, like, update this? I don't know. It's got, like, a settings thing. No, I know I could just do it, like, as my, like, how I've done it before, like a desktop background kind of thing. But I like this slideshow. It's kind of nice. Oh, we got him. We got him. That's a W. That is a W, dude. Okay, here we go. So this one we need to zoom it in. So I don't know how the quality is looking on that. We'll play it live. I just screen capped it like 2 seconds ago, so I apologize if it's slightly blurry, but of course I'll read it all, so don't worry about it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah, talking about it here. So we'll read it from the top. Okay, so this is just a conversation. I haven't read it. I've read a slight bit of it, and they were like, "What are your thoughts on this, men and women?" So let's get into it. We'll see what the thoughts are. So we don't know who any of the players are. Okay, so first message: couldn't see your social media before meeting you. I think this is the one I actually talked about. That's the one I talked about. Okay, I did reference this one. Couldn't see your social media before meeting you. A few years ago, I went on a date with somebody without seeing their social media first, and they actually appeared to have gained like 40 pounds. Also just gives me an idea of your social circle and maybe the other small things about you that are typical for social media, but I understand if you were a private person. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is a good thing to start with. This might not have been the first message. Like, I don't think it was. This doesn't look like this would naturally fit into a conversation until it was, like, down the road. You'd be talking a bit, then you would prompt this. I got to be honest. I think this is a bad call. I don't think you asked this. This is a hill to die on that you don't need to die on. You are shooting yourself in the foot when you talk like this, because you're just going too fast for somebody, right? You've never met this person, right? Like, be reasonable. Right? So you're going, hey, by the way, I can't see your social medias. What's up? Right? Like, why can't I get your Instagram? What's up with that? Right? Maybe they don't want to share that. Right? So they're obviously entitled to not have to share that. So yeah, I'm kind of the opinion that don't do this. Don't if you want to do this, if you want to do the equivalent to this, you know what you do? You like schedule a video call, right? You're like, hey, like, would you mind doing a video call? Would you be cool? I just want to make sure, I just want to see you're real, right? I want to talk to you. Like, I want to, you know what I mean? And it would ease tensions before a date because you would already be kind of familiar with the person, right? I've done a video call. I had a roommate, an Irish roommate that used to do those. And he would, like, during COVID, he would sit back, put the video on his phone, have a glass of wine, and you talk to her, right? And he didn't like them, but I think it's a good way to do it. And then if you actually meet, like if we do that video call like Wednesday, and then we still have the date on Saturday, I now kind of know her, right? A little bit, right? I've heard her voice. I heard her laugh. I know what she looks like. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable, right? And I'm going to be more comfortable going in and meeting her rather than a stranger that I'm not really 100% sure I know what she looks like or not, right? Which is unfortunate. Reading into the response, conflicting boundaries, what a dilemma, lol. I can offer you a screenshot, lol, but otherwise it's all right. So I think the screenshot is maybe not the best response. I would prompt the video call. I really would. Even an audio call, like a phone call, just to be like, we can talk for a couple minutes. You can hear me, right? I'm here. I think his point is really valid though, but it's just not maybe worded the best, and it's not a good way to go about it. But to say, hey, I've been catfished before. Catfishing comes in all shapes and sizes. Literally, you can be catfished by age. You can be catfished by an old photo that just they physically look very different. You can be catfished by weight. You know, I hate to say it, but it generally is going to be bigger. I was going to say fatter. It's generally going to be someone with more weight. So hypothetical, you know, I'm like 130. If I had a picture where I was 180, that's a very, very big difference, right? And someone might look at those profile pictures and go, wow, 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 what happened there, right? And if I don't upload a photo, the most recent photo where I'm like, this is what I look like a week ago, right? Or if I haven't changed, then that's fine too. If I look the exact same, then who cares? But if you do that and you haven't uploaded anything new, you are catfishing. You might not believe it, but you are catfishing. You are part of the problem. It's funny to say it, I think it's absolutely true. You are catfishing. You might not think you are, but you are, to a degree. And we'll scroll it up here. And there's a response at the bottom. We'll get to that. Anyway, it's okay. It's a thing for me. I just find this conversation odd. I don't find this a really good conversation, like really a flowing conversation. She goes, that's a shame because you're pretty much my type too, but it's also a thing for me, so maybe we'll cross paths in the wild with a wave emoji. So at this point, this conversation's over. It's this match is over. It's not going anywhere. It's done, right? I don't really know what else to say. It's over. The moment someone gives you like the wave emoji and is like, hey, maybe we'll meet in the wild. Good luck to you. You're done, right? Move on. Unmatch them. It's over, right? It's over. There's no saving it. There's no point in responding. He does respond. There's no point in responding. Just pick your battles. Take your losses. Got one more. Then bend the rule for me. Ha ha. Not a good way to respond. That was pretty poor. She goes, ha ha, no you. That was pretty good back in his court. And I'm not sure why a screenshot wouldn't be sufficient. It's what you would be looking at anyway. There you go. Right? So the screenshot would just be her point is you would be seeing a social media post, a picture of me online, and I would just send you a screenshot of one of them and it would be the same thing, right? Like, why is that any different? So the reason why I think like a lot of people shouldn't do that, like give out that information, is because a lot of people make the mistake of putting their full name out there all the time. I mean, my YouTube is Nick Daniels. It's not my full name, but it's Nick Daniels. And like legally, that's not my name, right? Legally. It's in my name, but it's not my name, not legally. And a lot of people put their full legal name everywhere, right? Like Facebook, everything. The moment you hand that information out, you inherently have given someone your information, whether you like it or not. And that's not necessarily always a great thing, right? Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm not saying it's a great thing either. Final response. I guess that means because. I guess we can't write that out because then I can't click stuff. Got to do a brief scroll on the followers/following. See how recent posts are. Click on some tagged people, etc. These things paint pictures, you know. You lost me. So I think like he had a point of salvaging it to be like, listen, let's just do it. Let's just link up. Let's go for a coffee, right? And I think he had a point where he could have salvaged it, which I didn't believe was possible, but I believe he did. I'm trying to see. Oh, those are cords in the back. I thought it was garbage on my table, like the ones that are over here. You know what I mean? Like over here, like right there. That's a watch. Yeah, I think he had a point where he could have salvaged the conversation. I'm very surprised to admit that, but like I am. I thought it was over when she did the wave emoji, but I think right after it, he could have saved it if he really wanted to. And I think he fumbled it because he just doubled down on, I need to investigate you, right? That's what it reads like. You know, I need to look at how recently you've posted. How do you do this? Who do you tag in your photos? Who's following you? Right? That's obsessive. You don't need to bother with that at all. A lot of people will call that a red flag. I agree. That's just run for the hills. Run for the hills. All right, so I think the last post we've got, and we'll kind of just talk for a hot minute, and we'll see what's up. This friggin' thing. Oh, I got the wrong thing. Boys, we're, uh-oh. I can't click it, man. There we go. I got it. I was getting concerned. Here we go. These are hilarious. I love reading these. Okay, here. Yeah, you can already tell where this is going. So, yeah, hello, XXX. I don't even know why. Again, I've said this before. Like, oh, 4 X's. 4 X's. I don't know why anybody opens with X's after their messages. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like, I know, like, XOXO. That was, you know, that's something. But, like, this just doesn't make any sense. Every message has an X after it. Doesn't make any sense. Hello, beautiful. 4 X's. Hello, you free to chat. So he waited, it's military time, so it's like, what, 4:21 and then 6:21. He waited exactly 2 hours and messaged a second time. Third message, again, 2 hours. 2-hour intervals. What's the point matching if you ain't gonna talk bitch shitty that? Response. I love this response. Because I have a life, I just worked a 12-hour shift and didn't expect to get upset if I didn't reply within 2 hours. That's a pretty fair point. I'm going to be honest. I'll give you like a slight bit of a story, but not like a story, just like a too long don't read. I used to be like this, this guy. I used to send the messages and get very, very upset. Not always like I wouldn't do it like this. I might get vocal or be like, oh, hey, like, I guess you're not interested. Right. Like that, you know, you give him a nudge and maybe you get something, but it comes off kind of needy and clingy. That's how I look at it. And I take the same, I take it the same way here. You are messaging someone, again, you don't know this person, right? You have no idea who they are, what they're doing, whatever. I don't message like this at all now. If I get a match and like, it's like 20 hours and I get a response, that's pretty good, right? I'm pretty happy with that. But I understand the world we live in, you know, things have changed and people just don't understand. Like, this isn't a way to get anywhere in life, right? You've got a match with a woman. Just send her a message and leave it. If she's interested, she'll respond to the message. If she's not, walk away, right? Don't worry about it. And I used to worry about it. I used to sit there, ponder on it like this guy, wait the 2 hours. Why isn't she messaging? Send the message. Don't do it. Don't do it, right? Don't fall into the trap of that. It's not a game. I know people will say it's a game. It's not a game. It's just people are genuinely busy. Some people don't look at their phones 24/7. I've got dating apps muted. I don't even want to know that I got a message half the time. I'll open it on my own time, right? And I don't care if I'm just sitting at home and playing a game. That's my time to do that. I can do that. So, yeah, respectfully, I would be against this guy completely. And I would be like, you got to take a step back, brother, and look. You know, this is what I advised to someone before too that was really mad about being single, very angry about being single. Like you could feel the anger about being single. And I advised that. I was like, you need to reflect. You're the common denominator in all of the situations. You are the common denominator. It's like maybe you're doing something. I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying you might be. Just an idea. Anyway, guys, that's been fun. We've almost hit the 1 hour mark. I normally don't stream for an hour because it's just a lot of talking to a camera, and I don't find I have that much content to discuss, like 30 minutes, but what's the point in streaming? So I'm going to try to keep it like this, 50 minutes an hour, try to keep it up there. I think that's a fine length. Try to stream for next week. We'll see what's up with the schedule. I don't know how my schedule is yet, but I'll make a post if we're doing it. I'd like to get back to reviewing a dating site, like checking one out live. I do enjoy those. There's a lot to talk about live on dating sites. So if I do that, I'll put a poll out come the weekend probably, and I'll say, what do you guys want to see? Right? And I'll come up with some ideas. The only thing I got to avoid is hookup apps. I cannot do them. There is nudity. I got to avoid nudity. Last time, I run the risk, right, of demonetization or something because there's like, a bird on the screen, right? And that happened in one of them like twice, which wasn't good, right? And I got to screen them first, right? So I think that's what's going to happen. We'll do the poll probably this weekend, and I'll let you guys know what we're going to do. I like the format. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, where I have the pictures up to the side, or I guess this way. I have the pictures up on the side, and then I just talk about them. So it gives me like almost like a script. I already know what I'm going to talk about. I think we had like, if you go through them, there is a good amount here. There was there's a good amount of screenshots here, right? If you look at them all, right? I did some homework. I saved a couple posts, right? And I think like every week I would just I'll just get some new ones. There's always something to talk about, right? With online dating, there's always something going on. Ooh, that's a big one. Yeah. So see, there was a good amount. There was a good amount. The other thing I was going to say too is I'm going to try to learn like maybe Canva, because supposedly the presentation mode is pretty good. I just want something that looks a little bit more fluid, like with the webcam and the photos. Like maybe I could immediately shrink the webcam and expand the photos. I had to do this manually for every one, which you saw for the whole stream. Like I had to constantly, like I'd be like doing like this, and I'll be making it bigger, smaller. It's a little cumbersome. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. Right. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I appreciate everybody coming out. If you guys watched it after the fact on YouTube, well, it is on YouTube, but just as a YouTube video, like a VOD, I appreciate that too. So that's the idea. You can watch it either way. The picture on the screen now, I'll end the stream by noting this. I did talk about it at the beginning, but I'm going to talk about it just briefly one more time to milk the 1 hour mark. So thank you. This picture here has its own video coming out. It's a quick video, but I'm talking about this very in particular, which is the Tinder advertisements. So you can do Tinder advertisements now, and you can extend your matches, your amount of likes by a few a day. I don't know, again, if you can stack this. I don't use Tinder. I'm permanently banned on it. I don't care. I don't even want to use it. But I believe you can, so you could just keep watching ads back to back to back and extend your likes permanently. I don't think you should even bother with that. I think that sounds utterly exhausting. But if you wanted to do it, I believe that, yes, is an option. That is something that you could do. So yeah, it's got its own video coming out. And the fact that Bumble has a few interesting things, which is I didn't talk about this part, so I'll end with this. But with non-skippable ads, it's profiles. So when you're swiping now on a profile in Bumble, let's say like I swipe on a profile, a couple profiles in a row, no, yes, whatever. One will come up, it'll be like Starbucks. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's obviously an advertisement. I'm going to swipe no on that, right? So when you swipe no on that, it's time-gated now. I bet you this is going to go up. But right now, it's like 3 seconds that you are time-gated, where you just can't say no or yes. Or I think you can say yes, but it doesn't get rid of the ad. It brings you to the advertisements page. Like it would bring you to like starbucks.com or whatever, right? And that's what it is. It's like when you click a link you click an ad in YouTube, right? It takes you to the page. It's the same thing. So it's 3 seconds. I swear to God, it's 3 seconds where you cannot get past the advertisement. And I think this is really the state of online dating, is they are not making any money. And if they are, they're making very little money, especially what they pay to marketing and what they're paying their employees. And I think that's what's happening. What we're seeing is that they're struggling and they're coming up with any way to make money. That'll be a video. All right, guys, we've hit the 1 hour mark. That's what I wanted. I milked it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you in the next video. Again, the next video will be this video here, the online dating one about Tinder and Bumble. And then we have a movie review for a Quebec film, a Quebecois film that came out recently, and I thought was really good. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take it easy, and we will see you in